at the state capitol on Pro-Life Lobby Day, and I just met these wonderful gentlemen. Tell me who you are.
I'm Bryan Hughes, and I'm State Representative for District 5 in East Texas.
East Texas, great. And you, sir?
I'm Bill Zedler, and I'm a State Representative from District 96, which is South Arlington, Fort Worth, Mansfield, Kennedale, Crowley, and South in Burleson.
Wow, that's a lot of space. Tell me, I was just talking to you, and you told me that you're here for what reason?
I'm in politics primarily because of the life issue. Protecting life has got to be the government's highest responsibility. And we know that God gives us life. He created us, and we should honor and protect life, all life, at the beginning and the end of life.
So how do you feel about in cases of rape?
I remember someone else being asked that question. Rape is something just unimaginable for me, for most of us. We wouldn't want to compound a horrible situation by taking a life. It's not the little child's fault, is it? As grievous as that must be, and I don't know what that would be like to go through. I can't imagine. Yet we know that it's not that little baby's fault that it was conceived in that way.
Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Sir, tell us why you're here today.
Well, I basically, the same reason that Bryan did, I was in an Arlington that is the recommending board and that kind of thing. It's not on the active board any longer.
Like an advising committee?
Yeah, advisory board.
Okay.
And basically, I believe the same as Bryan does. The fact of the matter is that the first responsibility of the government is to protect human life. And since life begins at conception, therefore we need to protect human life from that point forward.
Now, what are some of the things that maybe that you're personally involved in to make abortion less common?
Well, I was very thankful to be a member of the House back in 2003 with Representative Zedler when we passed some very good pro-life legislation, the Woman's Right to Know Act in Texas. Now, when a woman seeks to terminate a pregnancy, before she can do that, she's got to be given truthful information about the development of the unborn child and the risk to her own body and her own mental health and emotional health from abortion. She's given that information, and then she's given 24 hours to consider that, to weigh that before she makes that big decision. And so we're very thankful. That's the law in Texas now. We also, with Representative Zedler, we co-authored the Prenatal Protection Act that recognizes in Texas when you kill or injure a pregnant woman and you cause the death of that little unborn baby, there are two victims there, not just one. There's much work to do. The bills we're talking, the sonogram bill we're talking about today, I'll let Representative Zedler talk about that. I don't want to hog all the time, but we've thankfully done some very good pro-life moves in Texas. There's still work to do.
Yeah, as a advisor on the Arlington Pregnancy Center, what we found is that when they brought in a sonogram, that 90% of the women who have a sonogram, who are pro-abortion minded, once they see the sonogram, they elect to carry that child to term. So what we see is the more information that a woman gets, the more likely they are to carry that baby to term. And we believe that that is one of the ways to really address this. In other words, the more we inform women about what's going on, the more apt they are to carry that baby to term.
That's right. How can we argue with giving women more information?
Exactly.
Right. In fact, even if one considers themselves pro-choice, shouldn't it be an informed, educated choice that women are making? That's a big decision. Of course, the life of the unborn child is obviously affected, but even for that mom, we've talked to women who've been through that process, and we've heard some really difficult stories about what it's like going forward. Women need to know about that before they make that decision.
Let me ask you, on a very personal level, what sparked that desire to be part of pro-life? You didn't just wake up one morning and say, I think I'll go and be on the advisory committee.
Yeah, in fact, in the early 70s, right after the Roe versus Wade was passed, initially I was kind of ambivalent about it, and then my wife encouraged me to really look into the issue, and the more I looked into it, from not only from a medical standpoint, but from a biblical standpoint, the more pro-life I became. And that's when I got on the Pregnancy Center working board. And it's been one of those things why, just like I say, one of the things that we've got to do in our society is inculcate into our society the concept of the sanctity of human life. Because once we have a society that deviates from that, then what we have is a society that's much more cruel. Because the idea is that if once the value of human life becomes relative, it is bad for society.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. Bill, that's exactly right. And my experience was a little different growing up a little bit later. I was born in 1969, so before Roe versus Wade. Growing up in East Texas, I wasn't really aware or really conscious of abortion or what it meant or what was going on. When I got into high school and into college and began to study and look at issues, and I realized and I learned what abortion was. And it's sad we can become so accustomed to it. We don't really think about what it is. It's just a horrible, unspeakable thing. And so when I learned that, it really impelled me to get involved, and that's when I began to go to pro-life events. That's when I began to support pro-life candidates and to volunteer in their campaigns and put up signs for them and to do things like that. I can't say that I've done enough, but I can't help but think of the verse in Proverbs that talks about how if you forbear to deliver those who are being drawn into death, who are being led to the slaughter. If you say, we knew it not, does not he who judges the heart holds you accountable? We not judge to every man according to his works. Now, we know most of all that speaks of the gospel, our duty to tell people about their sin and about the Lord Jesus dying for their sins. That's the highest application of that verse for me. We need to tell people about the gospel. On a natural level, these little unborn babies are being drawn into death. They're being led away to the slaughter. And we have a chance to do something about it. You know, in America, we the people really do run things. The government works for us, not the other way around. Not the other way around. And so we can do something. We can pray. The most important thing we can do is pray. Many of us talk about praying for our country. Are we doing it? We can pray. We can organize. We can vote. And by God's grace, lives can be saved and things can be changed.
Wow. You know, if we had multiples, if we could fill the House and the Senate and every judicial seat with people like the two of you, wow. Can you imagine what our country would be like? I don't know. You guys have really encouraged me because, like Elijah said, oh, Lord, am I the only one? I have been encouraged today to see that not only am I not the only one, but there are people who are in position that can change the world.
Thank you for your
God
testimony.
bless you. Thank you both.
Thank you for what you're doing. God bless you. We appreciate it.